Hello students, this is Swati Gupta presenting a video on the topic of types of organization. In our last video, we have discussed about types of organizational structure. We can say that functional and divisional structure was nothing but only the part of different types of organization. As organization can be of two types, that is formal or informal. So in each and every organization they have to follow a structure, and that structure can be functional or divisional. Okay, let's start with our first organization, that is formal organization. It refers to the organizational structure that is designed by the management to accomplish organizational objectives. It means any type of structure which is specially designed to achieve some organizational objective only is known as formal organization. Let's say we can see in our schools also that there is a uniform which is same for all the students. That uniform which has been provided to the students to achieve the objective of uniformity in the organization is known as formal uniform. But the casual dresses that we wear in our daily life at our homes, that is known as informal dresses. So what is organization? Formal organization. There are some features. Let us discuss the features. First is, it is deliberately created by the top management to achieve organizational objective. It means it is deliberately, it means willfully and voluntarily created by the top management for achieving the organizational objectives only. Second is, it is based on rules and procedures which are in written form. It means every rule and regulation, what are the sequences to perform the activities to achieve the organizational goal has already been designed in the formal organization, and each and every person has to follow such rules and regulations very carefully. There is no chance, there are no autonomy given to the different peoples and employees working in the organization to do any activity and perform any activity according to their wish. Everything is predetermined. Third is, it is impersonal, that is, does not takes into consideration emotional aspects. It means it does not takes into consideration the personal problems or the personal things of the employees. Only the main consideration of each and every activity is to achieve the organizational goals. It means the managers or the top level management does not have any matter with the personal problems of the employees, because they have designed, they have created this type of organization to achieve the organizational objectives. So they don't think about the personal problems of the employees. Fourth, it is clearly defined the authority and responsibility of every individual in the formal organization. It means who is the subordinate and superior relations, we can say, and what is the power, how much power an employee is having, a manager is having, and what are the different duties of all the employees and every individual working in the organization is already being defined in the formal organization, so that there is no confusion and any person is not required to perform out of their structure, out of their limit which has been created by their top level managers. Fifth is, it creates superior subordinate relations. What does it mean, children? That superior and subordinate, it means who is the superior, who is going to give report to a particular person, and who is going to receive the orders from any employee. It means who is the superior, who is going to give the orders, and who is the subordinate. It means who have to accept the orders from which person is already being clearly defined in the formal organization, so that anybody in future will not ask will not give any order unnecessarily to any person. Everything is clear that who is superior, who is on the top level, and who is subordinate, who has to work under the superior. Sixth one is it creates a scalar chain of communication in the organization. What is a scalar chain? That there is a defined sequence or steps to be followed for passing the information from one person to another. They follow a scalar chain. It means if A wants to, there are 5 employees in the organization, A, B, C, and D. And the levels of 4 of the employees is different or the same. If A wants to communicate to D directly, then they have to follow. It is not possible to communicate with D directly, as they are following the scalar chain. Firstly, the information is to be passed from A to B, then B will pass to C, then only C will pass that particular information to D. Everything in the formal organization is in a very defined way, already defined way, as they perform the scalar chain of communication in the organization, which ensures a very systematic working in the organization and everything goes on very smoothly. Now, coming up to the advantages of formal organization, first one is easy to fix responsibility. What does this mean? That as this clarifies the reporting system by clearly defining that who will report to whom, that is superior subordinate relationship. So it makes easier to fix responsibility, also creates unity of command. We can say that as each and every person is already being responsible, has given the responsibility to perform a particular task. So if any case there is a possibility of any mistake, or might be possible that someone has performed very much well, so it can be easily identified. We can easily fix the responsibility that who has performed well and who has not performed well. What are the deficiencies in the workings of the different peoples, because it was already been defined that who has to perform a particular task. For example, we have given a project of global warming to 4 students. One has to be given to collect the material. Okay. One has given the responsibility for the presentation. One has given the responsibility of the coloring. And 4th student was responsible to explain that topic to the audience. Now, if we find at the time of presentation that the coloring of the project is not very much attractive, so we can easily fix the responsibility. We can easily identify that who has not performed well. The 3rd person has not performed well. In that case, we are not required to blame 3 of the people because they have performed their duties clearly. But the 3rd person can easily be identified that he has not performed their duty well. So it is very easy to fix responsibility in the formal organization. Coming up to second advantage, that is no overlapping of work. It means as work is systematically divided among various departments and employees, so there is no duplication or overlapping of work. Again and again we will discuss about this point, that already every work is divided among the various departments in advance. So everyone will perform the task in a way, and the number of times which has been allotted by the top level management. It means in formal organization, structured work is systematically divided. Okay, so there is no chance of duplication or overlapping. Every work will be performed by every employee in a manner in which it is being allotted by the top level management. Third advantage is focuses on organizational objectives, as predetermined framework or predefined framework for the operations ensures that each member work towards achievement of organizational goals effectively. It means that predetermined network, as we have discussed in our last topic, that the structure of the organization has already been designed. It means the responsibilities, the duties, the activities have already been designed in the structure or in the formal organization. So it becomes very easy. And we have also discussed that the formal organization have been created by the organization just to achieve the organizational objectives. So in this organization, every person will work in a way so that they can achieve the organizational objectives effectively. Every duty, every responsibility, authority, orders, instructions, everything is directed towards the goal of organizational objectives only to achieve the organizational goals effectively. It doesn't take into consideration anything else, any personal problem, only they focuses on organizational objectives. Fourth one is more emphasis on work. It means formal organizational structure lays more emphasis on work than interpersonal relations. It means they focuses, as we have discussed in third topic, that they focuses on organizational objectives. So in this way, interpersonal relations or the personal problems are not taken into consideration in the formal organization, because of which it is an advantage for the organization that every person will focus on work only. Work of which type? Only the work which is related to the organization, as they are not allowed to share their problems, their confusions, their any type of problems with the manager. So in this way, they can emphasize on work only more than their interpersonal relations. Fifth advantage is stability in the organization. It means because behavior of employees can be fairly predicted since there are specific rules to guide them. It means it ensures stability because each and every employee has been guided properly regarding the rules and regulations. Everyone is following the same rule, same manner of performing the task. So in this way, we can ensure stability in the organization, that everything will go on in the organization as decided, as planned, because every person is performing the task in a predetermined way according to the rules and regulations that were pre-planned. Sixth advantage is, as authorities and responsibilities are already clearly defined, so each employee will get order from one boss only. Hence, unity of command is ensured in the organization. Students, as we have discussed in chapter number 2, unity of command principle says that each and every employee should receive order from one boss only. So it is very much possible in the formal organization that already the structure has been created, has been defined, that who is the superior, who is the subordinate, who is going to give the orders and who is going to receive the orders. And so in this way, we can say that unity of command is ensured in the organization, that an employee will receive the order from one boss only at any spot of time. Anybody will not give the orders to one employee. It is not the possibility that one employee will receive the order from different bosses, because it has already been decided that who will receive the order and who will pass on the orders to employees. Now coming on to the disadvantages of formal organization, it has some disadvantages also. First is delay in action. As we can see, while following scalar chain and chain of command, actions get delayed. As I have told you that in formal organization, everything is performed as per the scalar chain, means in a sequence. So while taking the decisions, there are some possibilities that when we need to take some quick decisions, it is not possible under formal organization, because it has to be passed. If any idea comes in the mind of a manager, it has to be passed on to the different managers in a sequence. Sometimes it happens that it takes too much time to get to take the decisions, and this leads to delay in action. When it is a possibility that if a manager has some idea and he has the authority to implement that idea into the organization as per their own wish, so it might be possible that he will able to take the decisions very much quickly. But in formal organization, it is not been allowed to any person to pass on the information to anybody directly. They have to follow a scalar chain. Everything is to be discussed in a proper sequence with one another, which takes too much time. And because of this, sometimes decision makings action and there is a delay in actions. Second disadvantage is ignores social needs of employees. As we have discussed in advantages, from one point of view, it is an advantage also that when interpersonal relations are not being considered, it results in more focus on work, which is a benefit on one side for the organization. But from the employee's point of view, it is a disadvantage that formal organization fails to understand human relationships as its main focus is on work only. The same point can be explained in advantages from one organization's point of view, and from employee's point of view, we can say that it is a disadvantage because the personal problems and human relationships are not being considered. Manager does not have any matter with that who is the relative, who is women, who is men, who is the senior person. Anything is not being considered by the employer. They only focuses on organizational objectives only. It means we can say that formal organizational structure as does not give to the importance to pay to see the psychological and social needs of employees. This may lead to demotivation of employees also. It means they will get demotivated that why should we work in such type of organization in which our problems, our interpersonal relations are not being considered. Manager used to think only about himself only. So sometimes it results in demotivation of the employees also. They need to be transferred, they need to leave the job, and they try to work in such type of organization where there is both aspects of the organization. They work for organizational objectives also, and their personal problems and advices are also being considered. Next disadvantage is no recognition for creativity. It means the employees are required to follow the predetermined rules and procedures, which makes them just doers and restricts their creativity. As we have discussed that the managers does not allow the employees to give their suggestions, ideas and any advice to the top level management, because of which the employees just become the blind followers and just doers of the policies being framed by the managers, which restricts their creativity. It means they stop giving their suggestions and advices. They stop thinking something innovative and new for the organization, and hence it restricts their creativity. What makes a person creative? When someone forces them or when someone asks them to give their suggestions and something new. But when they are working in such type of organizations where only they have to follow the plans and according to the rules and regulations they have to work, so in that case they becomes the blind followers only, they become the doers only, which restricts their creativity. Okay, now another type of organization, second type of organization is informal organization. What is this? Organization which is not established deliberately but comes into existence because of common interests, taste, and religious and communal relations. What we have discussed in formal, an organization which has been created deliberately. It means according to the wish, thinking, keeping in mind every activity, rules, regulations, objectives of the organization. Such organization is known as formal. But the organization which is not established deliberately, which has been created spontaneously, it means, for example, I would like to give example in front of you. As students, Have you ever stood in a school corridor and observed teachers' discussion? I'm sure you must have overheard them and shared the gossip with your friends. Okay, many times it might have been directly related to your studies, exams, performance, etc. But at times it might have been their personal conversation like discussing family or children's education. So identify in this example which is formal and which is informal. Means when the teachers are discussing about their family matters or children's education in their free time, whenever it refers to the informal structure. It means they are not discussing about anything which is related to the objective of the organization, and it does not have any scalar chain and a defined rules and regulations. But I would like to give another example that principal has, for example, principal has fixed a meeting for say mathematics departments on Monday. Okay, so principal has fixed. It means the top level management has fixed and everyone is bound to attend that meeting at a particular time, and very much deliberately it has been decided that there is a meeting. It refers to formal. So what are the features? It originates from within the formal organization as a result of personal interaction among employees. It means when some employees are working together in an organization that according to the rules and regulations, well-defined structure, that is formal. If they are talking about the objectives and another things which is related to the organizational objective. But when, for example, they are sitting in a canteen and they are discussing, they are gossiping with each other, that is known as informal. It means it originates from the formal organization. When two or more people come in contact with each other formally, they used to make an informal organization because of personal interaction among employees. Second, it has no written rules and procedures just like formal. It means anybody is not bound to follow any rule and they do not work in a sequence. They can perform any activity, they can talk to each other in a way which has not been already prescribed. There is no written rules. It does not have fixed lines of communication. Fixed lines means there is no scalar chain. If there are 5 friends, they want to talk with each other. One friend wants to talk directly to the 5th friend. He or she is free to talk. They don't need to follow the scalar chain as it was required under in a formal organization. It is not deliberately created. It means it is not being willfully created by the management. It has been spontaneously created because of the formal organization. Fifth is, it is personal means the feelings of individuals are kept in mind. Unlike formal organization, it has been created just to fulfill the social needs. It means, for example, 5 friends come in contact with each other because of the school class. It means 5 friends, they belong to different families, but when they get admission in a same school, that is formal. The school refers to the formal organization, but because of that formal organization and project has been provided to 5 friends, because of which they are helping each other. It means that is personal interaction. The feeling of individuals are kept in mind. Informal organization is created only to fulfill the social needs and the personal needs of each other. Coming to the advantages, first is fast communication. It means scalar chain of communication is not followed, which leads to faster spread of information and feedback as well. It means there is no scalar chain. There is no defined path of communicating with each other. So each and every person is free, has autonomy to talk with each other, which results in fast communication. In the absence of formal or predetermined lines of communication, the information is transferred faster. We can also see when we are free to talk with each other, we can pass the information very quickly and easily, and even the manager and every person who are talking with each other can get the feedback as well. If there is any query, any doubt, they can ask to each other on the spot, which has not been provided. This facility, or we can say this authority, has not been provided under the formal organization, because they are merely just doers. They are not allowed to ask or give any suggestion. Second advantage is fulfillment of social needs. Enhances job satisfaction, which gives them a sense of belongingness in the organization. It means that this organization has been created by the organization. If any organization has created such informal organization structure, the main motive is to provide a sense of belongingness. We can say that informal organization allows like-minded people. Those who are like-minded people, they belongs to the same, they are having same attitude as ours, so they can form an informal organization and can discuss their problems, their personal problems or issues of common interest, which results in satisfying the social needs, creates bonding also with each other, develops also sense of belongingness, and also enhances job satisfaction, that you will able to feel that yes, there are some people who are my friends in a company where I am performing the job. I can share my problems with one another, so it will enhances the job satisfaction also. It will create an interest in the job, that yes, I am having some people with whom I can share my problems. Third advantage is contributes to organizational objective. It means it contributes towards achievement of organizational objectives by compensating for inadequacies in the formal organization. It is a very important point that when there is an informal organizational structure, so the inadequacies or the deficiencies which we have found in our formal organization because of lack of communication between people, we can cover up such inadequacies with the help of informal organization. As we can say that when there is an employee who was working under one manager, but because of formal organization, he was not able to discuss about his problems with the manager. But when manager asks him personally or with the reference of or with the help of any other employee, that go and ask to that employee that why he or she is disturbed, why is not performing his work properly. So in that case, you have created an informal organization when there is no particular path of passing the information. So with the help of informal organization, you can cover up the deficiencies which has been arised in the formal organization. Otherwise, it will not be possible to make clear to it is not possible for the manager to come to know what are the different problems that are being faced by the formal employees, formal organizations employees. This type of structure also has some disadvantages. First one is spread rumors. It means informal organization may spread rumors or leak confidential information which may spoil company's image. It means, as according to survey also, 80% of information spread through informal organization structure. It has been seen that when different people come in contact directly with each other, they used to pass some information while they are talking with each other, that this information may be some confidential information about the organization which spread some rumors in the organization, which has been seen that if organizational employees are not free, has not been given autonomy to talk with each other, then there are less chances of spreading rumors. But if they are free to talk with each other, there are more chances of spreading confidential information as well as the rumors in the organization, which may spoil companies' image, goodwill, and reputation in the market. Second disadvantage is resistance to change. It means if the informal organization is strong and united, they may oppose the policies and changes. What does this point say? That if the organizational employees, due to with the help of informal contact with each other, their bonding becomes, they have very much strong bonding with each other, then it might be possible that if there is any policy and rules or regulations being framed or passed by the organization in the organization, but the employees are not satisfied, then they can make a group because of their strong bonding, and they will oppose the policies and such rules which have been framed by the organization. They are not supposed to follow the rules and regulations, and which creates resistance to change. It means they will not follow the rules and regulation, and it becomes very difficult for the organization to implement any change if the employees of the organization are having very much strong bonding with each other. And strong bonding is the result of informal organization. This also results in delay in the decision making process, and it also restricts organizational growth, because when the employees of the organization are against of the organization of the company and the top level management, then it will have a negative impact on the organizational objectives also. Third is more focus on individual interest. It means if the group interests are not in line with the organizational interest, it may harm the organizational interest. We can say that when more and more people make their groups with each other working in the organization, then the group formations may pressurize, may force the members to follow the norms of the group. It means they used to give their preference to the advices and the suggestions of their friends and of their colleagues working in the organization more than the rules and regulations which have been provided, which have been discussed by the top level management. And if the group interests are not in line, it means the advices and the thinking of the employees are not same with the thinking of the top level management, then it may harm the organizational interest. It means because the informal organization have more focus on individual interest, they used to think about each other, not about the company, then they can have a strong bonding and it will create. And if they are not in line with the organization structure, for say that organization have made a rule for the timings, that the timings has been changed from 9 to 5, it has been changed from 8 to 6. Okay, 8 to 6 time has been expended for each and every employee, and with the help of informal organizational structure, they have discussed with each other that we will not follow this timing. Everyone have made a group, okay, and they came to know, and the top level management came to know that all are opposing this rule, and it means their objectives are not in the line. The group interest does not follow this rule, but the organization interest is having some reason behind it. So it may harm the organizational interest. They are not supposed to follow such rules and regulations. So students, with this disadvantage, I am completing my topic, that is types of organizations, their features, advantages and disadvantages. For the next topic, that is delegation and decentralization, please watch the next video. Thank you.